YouTube. Today I will be doing an unboxing and first look at the OCZ 550W ZT series power supply. This is an 80 plus bronze power supply, which means it's more efficient. It's 80 plus at 100% load, so it'll be 80% efficient, makes it more power efficient. Has a 5-year OCZ warranty, so they think it's going to work for at least 5 years. It's 100% modular, which means there's no cables coming out the back. You plug them in, whichever cables you want, so it's much tidier and easier to cable manage. Side of the box, nothing except what's at the top. It tells 550 watts in big letters. Back of the box, tech specs. The cameraman zooms in a little bit on here. Just get some nice. If you really want to read them, you can pause the video there. And up here again. There you go. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner, you have the input voltages. So 100 volts to 240 volts at 8.4 amps. 50 or 60 hertz, which is basically 240 volts at 50 hertz is the UK power supply, so it will work with the UK. DC output on the 5 volt rail is 24 amps. The DC output on the 3.3 volt rail is 24 amps. 12 volt rail is 45 amps, and those two don't matter. The max total for the 5 plus 3 volt rails is 140 watts. 12 volt rail can deliver almost all of the power of the power supply, which is something great because it's a 550 watt continuous power supply, so no matter what, you'll be able to get the exact 550 watts, which some power supplies don't do. They just do the peak load, which is at peak load times how much it will give out. Now, over here, the cable configuration comes with a 24 pin, a 4 plus 4 pin motherboard, mainboard connector, 24 pin, 4 plus 4 pin ATX CPU cable, 2 6 plus 2 pin PCIe cables, so they're for things such as graphics cards. Peripheral cable, you have 2 3 Molex connectors, so Molex times 3, and you have 2 of them. You have 6 SATA cables, so each one has 3, and you have a floppy adapter if you need anything that's a floppy connector. Now we're going to get inside the box. Okay, so we are greeted by 2 packets. There's a box which I assume has cables, and the bag with the power supply. We'll go for the box for the cables first. Put that aside for a second. Open this up. It's a bit messy. You have the OCZ thank you for buying this card, which is no one cares. You have the power supply manual. It tells you everything you need to know about it, what its contents are, how to plug them into the different inputs and outputs, and never going to read that either. Now, cables. So, first thing you see is 3 pin UK power adapter. It's a big, thick, chunky cable, so you know it's not going to affect anything like that. You have the little packet here with 4 cable ties. I'd like to see more cable ties to cable manage your cables, but 4 is good enough. You have 4 ATX power supply screws. Now you have the here it is, the 24 pin mainboard connector or motherboard connector, whichever one you want to call it. Is it going to play nicely? There we go. Snap it. It's fairly long. It's nearly okay. It's the length of my wrist up to my shoulder. It's very well sleeved. Gotta say, you struggle to see the colours through the sleeving, which means premium. I would have liked to see it go all the way up to the end so you can't see them cables, but it's not the end of the world. It's a nice, thick, heavy-duty feeding cable. Now, you have 2 PCIe cables. These are the... just get rid of that one. So these are for graphics cards, like I said earlier. They're 6 plus 2 pin, so you just take them 2, use a 6 pin if you've got a 6 pin graphics card. 8 pin on the other end, plugs into the power supply itself. Yeah, 2 of them. They are about the same length as the ATX 24 pin cable. Now, over to the other, sorry, that was a mistake by me. The black one is your CPU cable. This splits off into 2 4 pins. There we go, 2 4 pin. These are the 2 PCIe ones. They're all the same length cables, by the way. Now we get to our Molex cables, the 4-pin ones. Now these are not sleeved, they're just flat cables. There they are. Just normal Molex on each end. And this one's slightly longer, it's the length of my entire arm. I don't know if that means a lot to you, but if you know me, I'm sure you know how long my arm is. Maybe. I have the SATA connector, and here's the 3 SATA breakouts for a normal SATA hard drive, or a H100 or H80 water cooling unit from Corsair. Then you have yet another SATA. And on this Molex you have the floppy adapter connected. So that just goes into there. There we go. That just goes into a normal Molex connector, and you can plug a floppy into it. And that's that cable accessory box. Gone. Oh, put the cable in that. Now, this is the power supply itself, which is in a very high quality premium feeling bag. It's a bit awkward to get out. There we go. So this bag, no, it's only a bag, but you can put the cables you don't need in it when you build your computer. On top you have a big 140mm dual ball bearing fan. Spins it to 2100 RPM, but it's a very silent fan. In the back you have your honeycomb mesh, you have the 3-pin input and the on-off switch. On the bottom you have the same specifications as were printed on the box, just how much wattage and amps you get on each of the different rails. Flipping around to the side you have the sticker to tell you what it is, and the great thing about this is if you use the fan as an exhaust for your case, it'll have the sticker that way. Flip it over, so you use it as just a passive thing, so it's like sits there in your case at the bottom, and it sucks air through the outside of the case and then pushes it out the back of the case, so it doesn't affect the cooling in your case, it just does the cooling of itself. The stick is still the same way. For years, don't know why, they always printed them the exact same way, so when you flipped it over it was the upside down, which is stupid. But moving on, the back, the main part, CPU, the power supply, 24-pin cable connector there. So this is where your big 20+4-pin cable goes into. Wrong way. My mistake. There you go. That's in. And then pull it out. Push a little pin. Comes out. So that's for your main board. You need that for any computer. You have 2 PCIe ones, CPU, and then your 5 peripheral connectors. So the SATA and Molex connectors. This has been Marcus from Marcus Tech Tips. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, rate and subscribe. Goodbye.